Good morning, everyone. It's time to go on the record.
Do we want
Equality.
Where do we want it?
Now.
Gay marriage. Will all states have to follow Massachusetts' lead? Congressman Joe Kennedy III was in the U.S. Supreme Court for the oral arguments, and he is our guest this morning. Vermont's Bernie Sanders says that he's running for president. What will this self-described Democrat socialist bring to the race? And
Hillary's in, which means Bill will be too. As chief supporter, asset or liability?
From WCPB Boston, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
good morning, everyone. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Janet Wu. Thank you for joining us at OTR. We're a little different this morning because our guest, Congressman Joe Kennedy III, is in Washington, D.C. The Brookline Democrat is in his second term from the 4th District. He sits on the House Energy and Commerce Committee. So, Congressman, A, good morning, and B, tell me, I have to ask you, your grandmother Ethel is opening up her Hyannisport home for a weekend in June for $39,000 to benefit you and the DCCC. How good can those cocktails be? The dinner, the sailing, for almost 40?
Well, hopefully it'll be a good weekend. And Ed and Janet, thank you very much for having me once again. It is a pleasure to be with you.
Let me just show
we are thrilled.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, we are obviously thrilled to be able to host Leader Pelosi and the DCCC, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, down at our home. My grandmother's done this a number of times in the past, and we're thrilled to be able to do it again.
Let me just show you the contrast. You're bringing them there. If this was me, everybody would be going to Everett. So Baldwin Terrace is beautiful this time of year. So the difference in grandmothers.
I have no doubt.
Thanks for being with us. Let's jump right in with what's happening in Baltimore. This week, the nation has been racked by racial violence. This time it was in Baltimore. This isn't the first time in recent weeks. How do you stop this from repeating in city after city, Joe?
Janet, it's a question. Look, this is going to take, there's no easy answer to it, but it's going to take an awful lot of soul searching on behalf of all of us, Americans, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, and everyone else, to try to understand what really are the shortcomings that we're seeing out there in our society are, whether that's with our law enforcement, our judicial system, our economy, our schooling, just the way that people are able to access society, the way that people are treated in society, and the way that they are able to vent their frustrations. And I think what you're seeing in Baltimore over the past several days, and what we've seen in other places across the country, is this pent-up frustration that hasn't had an outlet. And I think it's causing a lot of us, myself included, to try to make sure that as we engage in these discussions, that it does move to action, that we really are focused on trying to make sure that there's real and meaningful reforms to ensure that everyone feels like they do have a chance to succeed in the society, and to make sure that those frustrations really have a channel to be voiced constructively.
Congressman, let me play the words of the president, because the president weighed in with strong words. Here's what Mr. Obama said a couple days ago.
We can't just leave this to the police. I think there are police departments that have to do some soul searching. I think there's some communities that have to do some soul searching, but I think we as a country have to do some soul searching. This is not new.
Congressman, everyone says that we need to continue to have a conversation, but isn't it time to actually do something? And if so, what?
Absolutely, and there's a lot that needs to be done. And the hard part is that there's not going to be a quick answer to this. But look, I think this starts with making sure we look at the way that people can, our schooling and our economy, making sure that everybody has access to a good education to get a good job. This continues with looking at law enforcement. And look, I was a prosecutor. I worked in the courts. I've got tremendous respect for folks in the law enforcement community that put themselves on the line out there every single day. But clearly, we've seen over the course of the past several months that various instances our law enforcement system falls short, and we have to make sure that there's trust is rebuilt between law enforcement and the communities they're trying to serve, and that starts with accountability. We also have to make sure we take a good hard look at our judicial system. Is our judicial system really as just and fair as we believe it actually is? And I think you're seeing in Washington a robust conversation now starting about real reforms around our prison prison system and our sentencing guidelines. And look, one of the issues that came up over Ferguson was questions about equipment that local police departments have. Are there ways that we should reform that system, that surplus military equipment goes down to police? So there's an awful lot of pieces to this, Ed. I think what you're seeing now is the need for Washington to move, the need for our local communities to move, and the need for law enforcement to move. This isn't going to be something that is going to be purely solved here in Washington, but we obviously have an obligation and responsibility, and we certainly, I think, can help.
But do you think the people that actually make the decisions, the politicians, actually are going to hear this message? I mean, there are some lobbies that are very powerful on Beacon Hill as well as on Capitol Hill. Law enforcement has the ear of a lot of people, but what about education? What about some of these other things that you're talking about that traditionally have not been able to get their voices heard? Do you really think this is going to change that?
Janet, we have to, and I think this is what we're seeing in Baltimore. We saw it in Ferguson. You're seeing in bubble up in conversations, newspapers, conversations that I'm having with my colleagues. The recognition that, one, these are not just isolated events, and two, that it's a long time coming. You don't see the frustration and the outrage that we've seen in Baltimore just because of one incident. You see it as the culmination of an awful lot of frustration. And I think what this is causing, I hope, across our society, not just in Washington, but in local communities in Baltimore, street by street, block by block, to say, what can we all do to try to actually make this better? Yes, legislation can help, and some judicial reforms I think are important, but part of this is going to be, you're not going to legislate your way out of this problem. You're not going to arrest your way out of this problem. This has to be done at a community level. This has to be done here in the nation's capital, setting these policies and recognizing that the balance that I think many of us hoped we had struck, really, we didn't get it quite right. And so I do believe that, look, a big piece to this is education. A big piece of this is an economy that works for everybody. A big piece of this is making sure that people have the resources that they need in order to afford a good job, that they can make sure that their kids are in a good school. The basic fundamentals of this, Janet, the frustrations that I think we're seeing come out, those sentiments are the same, I think, for so many folks. They want a roof over their head, food on their plate, their good kids in a good school, and make sure that their future for their children is going to be a little bit better than the one that they had for themselves.
Congressman?
Yes.
We could go on about this forever. I just wanted to move the conversation over to the U.S. Supreme Court. This past week, you were there when they were making the arguments on gay marriage. How do you think the court will rule, having heard the questions and comments from the justices?
Janet, it was an extraordinary honor for me to be there, and I really hope the Supreme Court does what I think is the right thing. It's always difficult to try to guess based on questions that the judges or the justices were putting forward to the lawyers. But I will say, one of the themes that came back over and over and over again was why, in a country that is designed to protect people's fundamental freedoms, what interest does the government have in blocking people from the ability to marry the person that they love? And we heard those questions pointed very directly at the opposition a number of times. And I think Mary Bonato did a tremendous job, the Solicitor General did a tremendous job making the case for marriage equality. Mary, I think, really hit the nail on the head when she said, the decision not to act on this is not just a status quo. You are allowing discrimination to continue. It is not saying, hey, just wait for this argument to continue to play out in the states. You are sanctioning an inequality that we have seen and now understand has very real impacts for people across our country. So I was thrilled and honored to be there, obviously waiting anxiously to have the result come down, but I'm hopeful that Mary Bonato will once again carry the day.
All right, Congressman, I think that's a perfect segue point to the OTR pop quiz. You ready for the OTR pop? You thought being in Washington you could avoid it, but you can't avoid it.
I did, and I'm hoping that the first question is how many Emmys did you guys win? So congratulations.
Well, nominated. No, we haven't nothing about that.
Even a bribe like that's not going to work.
Question one on the pop.
There you go. I tried to lob that one up there for
That was
me.
a good job. Question one on the pop quiz is, as we have discussed, and we were just talking about, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments on same-sex marriage bans in 4 states. Name the 4 states.
Ooh, I believe we would go with Kentucky,
Yep.
Tennessee,
Yep.
Ohio, and Texas?
Michigan. Michigan's the other one. Right now, 37 states
Michigan,
allow
that's
gay
right,
marriage.
yes.
Question 2, a South African
do.
by birth and former anti-apartheid activist. This former jurist had a landmark impact on our country. Who are we talking about?
Justice Margie Marshall.
Margaret Mitchell, 11 years ago. Margaret Marshall, rather, Margaret Mitchell. Margaret Marshall, 11 years ago, the former Massachusetts Supreme Court Chief Justice wrote a landmark opinion forbidding gay marriage violates the Massachusetts Constitution. Congressman, stay with us. We'll be right back on OTR on the record with the pop quiz. Thank you.